Assalamu alaikum everyone and welcome back. In our last lecture we talked about what makes something alive. We learned MRSGRE in mnemonics and the 7 characteristics of living organism. Today we move to topic 1.2 and this one is all about classification systems in its uses. We will learn how scientists organized all living things on earth into groups, how they name them, how they identify them, and even how they use DNA to understand which organisms are related to each other. There is a lot of interesting content here, so let us begin. First question: why do we even need classification, or what is a classification? Think about this. There are over 8 million species living on earth without any system to organize them. Studying biology would be completely impossible. It would be like a library with no shelf, books just thrown everywhere. So, classification is the process of grouping living organisms based on the features they share. Why is this important? Let me give you 5 reasons. First, it makes study easier. Instead of studying 8 million species one by one, we can study them in groups. Second, it shows evolutionary links. If two organisms share features, they probably share an ancestor. Third, it helps in conservation. We can identify which species are in danger and protect them. Fourth, it is useful in medicine. Knowing which group a disease causing organism belong to help us treat it. Fifth, it helps communication. Scientists from all over the world, Pakistan, India, England, China, they all use the same classification system, no confusion. Now, how are organisms actually grouped? We use a system called the taxonomic hierarchy. There are 7 levels from broadest to most specific. First is kingdom, second is phylum, third is class, fourth is order, the fifth is family, sixth is genus, and 7 is species. And here is a mnemonic to remember all 7 groups. King Philip came over for good soap. K for kingdom, P for phylum, C for class, O for order, F for family, G for genus, and S for species. Write that down, it will save you in every exam. Let's talk about one of the most important concepts in all of biology. What is a species? And this is where many students lost marks because they give an incomplete definition. Here is the full correct definition, and I need you to write every word. A species is a group of organisms that can reproduce with each other to produce fertile offspring. Two keywords: reproduce and fertile. If you only say can produce with each other, that is not enough. You must say fertile offspring. What does fertile mean? It means the babies they produce can also grow up and reproduce. The cycle continue. Now let us at characteristic of a species. Members can mate with each other. They produce fertile offspring. They share similar gene, same chromosome number, similar DNA. They often look alike. So difference like gender or age can exist. Now here it where it get interesting, and this is a very common exam question. What about hybrid? Some animal from different species can mate, but their offspring cannot reproduce. These are called hybrids. Example: a horse and a horse produce a foal. They will be fully fertile, same species. But a zebra and a donkey can produce something called a zedonk, but the zedonk cannot reproduce, it is sterile, so zebra and donkey are not the same species. Similarly, a lion and a tiger can produce a liger, but liger are sterile, so lion and tiger are different species. The key is always fertility. If the offspring cannot reproduce, the parents were not the same species. The binomial system. Now, once we know what is a species, we need a way to name it, and this is where the binomial system comes in. The definition is: the binomial system is an internationally agreed system where each species is given a two-part Latin name, the genus name and the species name. So, every species on earth has exactly two names, just like how you have a first name and a family name. Now, there are very specific rules for this system, and examiner check these rules carefully. Rule number first: there are exactly two worlds, never one, never three. Rule 2: the first world is the genus name and it always starts with a capital letter. Rule 3: the second word is the species name and it is always in lowercase. Rule 4: the whole name is written in italic, or if you are writing by hand, you underline it. Rule 5: the words are Latin or Latinized, so the same name is used by scientists worldwide. Let me give you some example. Homo sapien, that is us humans. Homo is the genus, sapien is the species. Panthera liu, the lion. Panthera tigris, the tiger. Notice both are in the genus Panthera. This tells us they are closely related. That is the power of this system. Pilus catus, the house cat. Oryza sativa, the rice plant. Now, where do we use this system instead of a common name? Because common names cause confusion. In Pakistan or India, we might call a certain fish by one name. In England, they call it something completely different. But Oryza sativa, or scientific name, Oryza sativa mean the exact same thing to a scientist in Japan, Brazil or Nigeria. One name, universal understanding. Dichotomous keys. Now let us talk about dichotomous keys. This is a really practical topic and you will likely get a question about it in your exam. The definition is a dichotomous key is a series of two choice questions used to identify organisms by their physical characteristics. The word dichotomous simply means divided into two. At every step, you get exactly two options, and your choice lead you forward. Let me walk you through an example. We have four animals: a bird, a frog, a turtle, and a snake. And we need to identify them using a key. Step 1. 1a has feathers. Go to step 2. 1b does not have feathers. Go to step 3. Let us say our animal has feather. We go to step 2. Step 2a can fly. It is a bird. Now let us say our animal does not have feathers. We go to step 3. 3a has dry skin, scaly skin. Go to step 4. 3b has moist skin. It is a frog. It has dry scaly skin. We go to step 4. Step 4. 4a has legs. It is a turtle. 4b has no legs. It is a snake. Simple, one step at a time, one yes or no decision at a time. Now in the exam you might be asked to use a key, meaning follow the steps to identify an organism. Or you might be asked to construct a key, meaning write one yourself. If you are constructing a key, always start with the broadest, most obvious feature first. For example, has wings versus has no wings, then go to more specific with each setup. Classification and evolutionary relationships. Now we get a really fascinating topic, evolutionary classification. For a long time, going back to a scientist called Carl Linnaeus, scientists classified organisms mostly by how they looked, physical appearance, body shape, structure. But this led to some big mistake. Dolphins were classified with fish because they both live in the sea and have a similar shape, but dolphins are actually mammals. They breathe air, give birth to live young one, and feed their baby milk. Whales were also called fish for centuries, but they are mammal too. So the old classification system based only on looks was not reliable enough. Modern classification called phylogenetic classification groups organisms based on their evolutionary history. Where did they come from? Who is their ancestor? What does their DNA say? This is much more accurate. What evidence do scientists use to understand evolutionary relationship? Number 1, fossil record. Fossils show us how species change over millions of years. Number 2, DNA comparison. Similar DNA mean shared in ancestry. Number 3, anatomy. Similar body structure point to a common ancestor. For example, the arm bone of a human, a whale, a bat, and a dog all have the same basic structure. This tells us they are evolved from a common ancestor. Number 4, embryology. Many different animals look almost identical as early embryos, which again point to shared ancestry. So modern classification is not just about sorting organisms into boxes, it is about telling the story of how all life on earth is connected. DNA based sequences, and this is bring us to the most modern tool in classification, DNA based sequences. You know that DNA is made of 4 bases: adenine, thymine, cytosine, and guanine. Every living organism has its own unique order of these bases, and here is the key idea. The more similar the DNA based sequences of two organisms, the more closely related they are. Let me show you with numbers because this makes it very clear. Number first, human and chimpanzees, we share about 98 to 99% of our DNA. That is why chimps are our closest living relatives. Human and mice share about 50% of their DNA. We are related but more distantly. Human and corn plant about 60% similar, very distant ancestor, but we do share common ancient genes. Human and bacteria only about 10% similar, extremely distant. Now, why is DNA better than physical feature for classification? Because physical feature can be misleading. Dolphins look like fish, but their DNA tells us they are mammal closely related to hippos. Their DNA does not lie. And here is one more important idea: DNA changes over time through mutation. So, the more differences there are between two species DNA, the longer ago they shared a common ancestor. This is how scientists can actually calculate evolutionary time. Let us do a quick recap of everything we covered in topic 1.2: classification, mean grouping organism by shared feature to bring order to life diversity. Species, organisms that interbreed to produce fertile offspring. Fertility is the key. Binomial system, two-part Latin name. Genus start with a capital letter. Species is lowercase, always in italic. Dichotomous key, a step-by-step yes-no tool to identify organism using only visible features. Evolutionary classification, modern classification groups organism by common ancestry using fossils, anatomy, and DNA, not just appearance. DNA based sequences, more matching DNA bases means more closely related, means a more recent common ancestor. These 6 ideas are the core of the topic 1.2. If you know all 6, you are ready for the exam. Top exam tips. Before we finish, 5 exam tips that will save your marks. Tip 1, species definition. You must include the word fertile and offspring. Never just say they can reproduce, say produce fertile offspring. Examiner look for this specifically. Tip 2, binomial system rules. Genus capital letter, species lowercase, write in italic or underlined, two word only. If you write it wrong in the exam, you lose the mark. Tip 3. Hybrid are not the same species. A lion is sterile, so lion and tiger are different species. This is a very common short answer question. Tip 4. DNA versus physical feature. If the exam asks you to compare method of classification, always say DNA based sequences are more reliable than physical feature. Physical feature can be misleading, DNA cannot. Tip 5. Dichotomous key construction. If you ask to build a key, always start with the broadest, most obvious feature. Work from general to specific. That is everything for topic 1.2 classification system. In our next lecture, we move to topic 1.3. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for the full course.